as that develops. But the Rugby League is the Silk Cut Challenge Cup first round from Wilderspool, Warrington. Warrington against Castleford. Two sides who have both got to Wembley in recent years, only to succumb to the power of Wigan. And the Wigan coach, John Money, is back on our commentary team, and he's alongside Ray French.
32 teams set out with high hopes of a visit to Wembley this weekend, but few with higher hopes than Warrington and Castleford here at Wilderspool. One or two have already made their exit, notably twice Challenge Cup winners Hull at the hands of Wigan. And Wigan are looking for a record 27th consecutive Cup round win there at third division leaders Dewsbury tomorrow afternoon. And the big news is that Martin O'Fire is ruled out with that shoulder injury. One or two tricky ties there. I wouldn't like to forecast the Sheffield Eagles v Lee game. That's a hard game, no doubt about that. And I don't think Widnes coach Phil Larder will be looking too promisingly to going up to Cumbria there to face the might of Whitehaven. But earlier this week we had considerable controversy in Rugby League caused by the World Sevens in Sydney, and Richard Duckinfield took the opportunity to ask one Aussie for his views on the chaos, Wigan boss John Money.
John, it's all turned into rather a mess. There'll be no Wigan side in the Sevens, there'll be no Welsh side in the Sevens. Do you think there's any possible way forward whereby this kind of thing can be avoided in future?
Well, after being there last year, it was certainly a great competition to be in, and it's a very worthwhile competition. I think Great Britain should be represented. So trying to be positive about the whole thing, I think one side from over here, let the national coach and somebody from league headquarters select it, one player out of every club, which means 10 clubs would be affected, and get a side over there representing the country.
So what you're saying is that it really can be impractical for a club side to take part?
Well, it's virtually impossible. I know Wigan did it last year, and we certainly enjoyed ourselves for the week, but it's, you know, you can't do it in the middle of a domestic season, and Australia wouldn't do it if the situation was reversed.
And from one Australian to two more nervous Australian coaches, Richard also had words with Darryl van der Velde of Castleford, and firstly Brian Johnson, the Warrington coach.
Well, I mean, we've had a look at the sorts of plays that they make, you know, and we hope we've come up with the answers in defence, and we'll look to do our own stuff in attack.
It's going to be important for both teams to play well, to play in top of their form.
Are you worried that in some senses Castleford have flattered to deceive this season? They've played some excellent football, but in some cases maybe people will say they haven't got the results they deserved.
Well, I'm disappointed with every loss we've had, Richard, you know, really, and you know, we probably haven't been as consistent as we've been in previous years, but that's all behind us, that's history, and we've got to look forward to playing well today. We're only 80 minutes away from our best ever game.
Well, certainly Warrington need a good cup run to help bolster that patchy form. Semi-finals in '89, losing to Wigan at Main Road, and runners-up to Wigan again at Wembley in 1990. And dare I add, they lost to Wigan in round 2 last season. But also an inconsistent record for Castleford, runners-up last season, winners in '86, but 3 failures at the first round, and that preliminary round against St Helens in 1990. But that's the style of rugby Castleford play. They take risks and they play adventurous football. And the Silk Cut Challenge Cup really gets underway here, from the tunnel here at Wilderspool to the tunnel at Wembley on May the 1st. 4 hard rounds ahead if one of these teams are to eventually arrive there. Both sides capable of beating anyone on the day, especially this Warrington outfit, been a little inconsistent here at Wilderspool, but in the league have beaten Wigan and Castleford away from home. Quite patchy form, just waiting for the Castleford side, and here is the experienced skipper with the rather nervous mascot, Lee Crooks, the skipper. St John Ellis, Simon Middleton, one or two youngsters in this Castleford side. David Nelson there, and Graham Steadman returning, the experienced Great Britain full-back. And a good welcome of cheers and friendly boos from the Warrington fans. Graham Steadman there, Mike Ford, he'll play a key part. But Warrington coach Brian Johnson shocked last week by the transfer request of his flying wing Neil Kenyon, but it hasn't stopped him from picking him this afternoon, and Wires fans will be very pleased to see that Bob Jackson has passed a late fitness test this morning. The flu bug has gone and he takes his position there in the front row. And To viewers who saw Castleford earlier in the season on the television, they switched their three quarters around from what we saw last time. St John Ellis comes into the centre from the wing, and David Nelson starts on the wing. A new signing to look out for there, Andy Fisher from Featherstone Rovers. Pitch in excellent condition despite the heavy overnight rain. But I think the pitch will suit those two forwards, the hard men in the front row. Dwayne Mann, Kiwi test hooker, and Lee Crooks, Great Britain test prop. They'll be used to ploughing down the middle. It'll be hard, it'll be tough, and none set the example better than those two. Referee John Connolly from Wigan, 33 years old, in his third season in the top flight. Been injured recently, making a comeback. He had a little hamstring trouble, which I think, John, just with these referees getting injured these days, it just shows the pace of rugby league, doesn't it?
Well, the game's certainly picked up in pace, Ray, and you know, I think it's noticeable there. Both sides have got two second-row forwards playing in the front row, and Bob Jackson's moved up to the front row, and Martin Ketteridge for Castleford has moved up to the front row. So the pace of the game is increasing, and that's good for everybody.
So, Mr. Connolly about to set us off on the road to Wembley. 80 minutes. Warrington in possession. And I think these early 5 or 6 minutes will be concentrated amongst the forwards, especially Warrington driving away here. Good drive there from Gary Sanderson. Warrington number 12, and Mackey and Ellis, the two half-backs, getting the ball away to Tony Thornley. Big, strong ex-Woolston amateur player, number 4, Thornley. Good run by Mark Foster. One of the last survivors from the meeting between these two clubs way back in 84 in the Challenge Cup. The only survivor from the 30 players. Nice piece of refereeing there, John. John Connolly warning the players about the 10-metre rule.
Yeah, I think he's, you know, he's one of the younger referees, and you know, it's good to see the younger guys get in and get, you know, be in charge of these, you know, these important cup games.
Martin Ketteridge, Castleford on the attack. Normally a second row, moved up to the prop, possibly give Castleford more mobility in the pack. The ball now to Tawera Nikau. Kiwi, loose forward, likes to hang around out wide on the outside there. Very fast, very quick runner. Graham Southernwood from Red Hill Amateurs near Castleford. Just 21 years of age, this lively squat hooker. Steadman. A high kick, well caught by Castleford, but it's the 6th tackle. The handover. And Bob Jackson, as I said earlier, had a touch of flu towards the back end of this week. Doubtful until this morning. But Gary Sanderson injured already. Cullen. And referee Mr. Connolly sensibly, I think, stopping play here as the sad sight of Gary Sanderson being helped from the field, and Neil Harmon, normally a prop forward, but has the mobility. And there we see crunching tackle by Tawera Nikau. But I think, John, one of the problems of not stopping play there.
Yes, Ray, it was, you know, I think the referee was unsighted for a while, but as soon as he picked up the injured player, you know, he was quick to blow his whistle, and there's a penalty there for Castleford stealing the ball in the tackle.
So Shelford put to touch. Ellis, good long pass to Mackey. Looked for the short ball to Shelford. That's a superb pass. He's got Tony Thornley coming on that outside there.
Warrington have prepared to backline this ball quite a bit, aren't they? They've had two tap plays, and they've gone to the backs on both occasions.
Well, they've certainly put some speed in that backline with Kenyon, Bateman and Foster, John. They're all three flyers. And Richard, any news there on the bench?
Tony Rothwell, the Warrington physio's with me. Gary Sanderson, you were signaling very quickly, couldn't continue, Tony.
No, he took a blow to the head, and we think he's broken his nose. Suffering a little bit from concussion, but eventually he did come round, so hopefully it's not too bad.
Thanks, Tony.
So, Gary Sanderson, the former Thato Heath ex-amateur player, possibly broken nose in the early stages. But fast and furious. And both sides, John, as you said, giving the ball plenty of air.
Yeah, they're just trying to move the ball each way. They're trying to test each other out nice and wide by stringing 2 and 3 passes together.
Nickau again in his favourite position. Oh, superb burst there by Fisher, and here's possibly the first try. Mike Ford is in. Oh, tremendous effort there from Mike Ford. The perfect position for a half-back, inside for the break. But it was that break down the right wing that did it. And Ford was there in accompaniment. 11 tries this season.
Yeah, it's a great break out of the tackle there, and as ever present, Mick Ford in a great support position inside. He goes over beside the post. It's been a good try because both sides have moved the ball around and probed for a break out wide.
And there we see Mick Ford striding out. There's nobody going to catch him. Bateman tries. He's a fast lad from Neath and Wales. But Mick Ford's over. 4 points to 0. And goal attempt from Lee Crooks. 70 goals this season. Very powerful kicker. 16 stone prop forward. Not a breath of wind here at Wilderspool. Calm, quiet. It'll erupt if this ball goes between the posts. It does. Roars from the Castleford fans. So dream start there for Castleford. 6 points to 0 and just 5 minutes gone.
We see Nickau with the ball here, good wide pass, and if we just hold it up there, he's made his breakthrough this area here. There's not a Castleford player inside, and then Ford appears in a good support position down here like any good halfback and follows the break up and scores a good try beside the post.
I think it just shows there, John, the lack of a sweeper, doesn't it?
Well, once they broke the line, it was, he just had to draw the fullback race, so there was nobody at home in behind the line.
So, Warrington up against it here at home at Wilderspool. Only won one game at home in the past couple of months. In fact, shown better form consistently away from home. Castleford, 4 times winners of this Challenge Cup trophy and runners-up, of course, to Wigan last season. Nickau. Oh, interception there by Warrington prop forward. Gary Chambers puts them on the attack. Harmon. Chambers again. To Dwayne Mann. Ever present in this Warrington side. The Kiwi hooker there, skipper Dwayne Mann. Shelford. Normally a half-back with the New Zealand Test squad, but playing here at loose forward. Good footballer, good ball player. Ellis looks for the long pass to Cullen. Thornley, he's got Lee Penny. Well taken by the youngster. Difficult pass around the knees for number 1 there, Lee Penny. Cullen. Last tackle. That's a good kick. Nelson chases, puts them back. David Nelson and Richard, some more information.
Yes, with John Joyner, the Castleford assistant coach. John, a good try at any time, but some very tidy handling there.
Yeah, good positive start. Something worked on in training all week. Just got to keep it going now.
Defence is going to be important.
Very important, yeah. If we keep it going like we have done for the first 5 minutes, I think we'll be okay.
So happy on the Castleford bench, right?
Mr. Connolly wants the ball playing correctly, played with the foot. like to see a referee who does a lot of talking to the players, chatting with the players, reminiscent of the style of the older referees like Peter Geraghty and Sergeant Major Eric Clay, Matt Coates. All had a rapport with the players. Foster to Nelson. Back into the side, ex-Sheffield Eagles. Crooks looking for the switch. Oh, good tackle. The force of the tackle knocked the ball out, but picked up by Tony Smith. Both sides trying to move the ball. Sheffield using that blind side a lot, John, on the short side.
Yeah, Castleford are a side that like going down that short side. They just move the ball to the centre, move it about a third of the way across the field, and then try and hit back. They're also trying to go down the middle of the pitch, Ray, and so far the Warrington defence has been very good, very tight in the middle.
So Castleford still on the attack. Well picked up there by Neil Kenyon. Groans from the crowd. One or two, I think, thought an underhand punch went in, but not according to Mr. Connolly. Ellis. Colin. Tony Thornley causing problems out there on that left wing. Oh, Mackie getting in the way of his forwards. That's a good kick, sending Graham Steadman running back. Only just returning to action, this man, Graham Steadman, but always welcome at Castleford. 10 weeks absence with the stress fracture of the foot. Simon Middleton, the man who took Steadman's place at fullback.
Yeah, I think Steadman's probably one of the best fullbacks in the game, Ray, being able to bring kicks back, and you've got to be very important when you're playing against him that everybody goes down together and you don't go down one at a time, because if players get to him one at a time, he's certainly got the ability to beat a player.
He has real pace, John, doesn't he?
Real pace and a very good step.
Castleford then 6-0 in the lead. The ball back to Peter Coyne from St George in Australia, signed by Darrell van der Velde for his kicking abilities, but not the best of kicks, doesn't really put too much pressure on Warrington. Tap on the 20-metre line. Mr Connolly shouting to the players, urging them to get on with the game, no rest. Dwayne Mann to Bateman. Alan Bateman from Neath. This was the man who made the vital breaks when Warrington beat Castleford in the league championship match. Harmon. Good defence from Castleford, John.
Yeah, they're tackling very well, and the last couple of times we've seen them play, defensively they've been very strong, and they've started very strongly, and you know, they've got the points on the board this week.
Ellis. Good rubber kick. Perfectly judged from this Welshman from Bridgend. Kevin Ellis. 40 yards gain down this near side touchline. Darrell van der Velde, the Castleford coach, was saying earlier in the week that his side had lacked confidence in recent weeks. They dominated territorially but failed to score. Nelson.
It must have been just the start they were after then, Ray, to get on the scoreboard after 5 minutes, and you know, they're certainly playing like a side that's got plenty of confidence.
Well, they should have. They're third in Division 1. Warrington 10th in Division 1 and have been struggling with relegation blues in recent weeks. But Darrell doesn't look too happy. Good pass from Crooks. Again, good turn of speed there from Tony Smith. But Steadman coming more into this game, using his pace. To Fisher. A bargain buy from near neighbours Featherstone Rovers at Christmas, number 12 there, Andy Fisher. Play on. And St John Ellis kicking that ball because it was still the fifth tackle. The ball hit Bob Jackson, but he hadn't made any attempt to play it. So Warrington's head and ball, scrum down. And there we see it, John, don't we?
Yeah, we can. We've got the added advantage. We can hear the referee as well, and he certainly gave the players plenty of notice there that you know, that was unintentional and that it was still the last tackle.
Forster. Good servant here at Warrington, over 222 appearances for the club. Thornley. Warrington trying to force away down the middle with these forwards, but the Castleford tackling tight man. Castleford moving up very, very quick, John.
Yeah, they play a very compressed defensive line, and they're, you know, all their players in defence are between the two 10-yard lines.
Good run by Bateman. To man, Jackson. Another great servant here. Bob Jackson, Australian forward. Mackey again. Good kick. Just puts it past Simon Middleton. And we can see the amount of possession there that Castleford have had, 78%. Well, this time at least Darrell van der Velde's wishes are answered. They do have the 6 points on the board.
Yeah, they've turned that possession into points, and they'd be quite happy with their game at the moment. They've, on the other hand, Warrington have adopted a little different tactic there. They're kicking the ball over the sideline in the opposition's half, therefore giving the head and the feed to the opposition, and therefore Castleford are winning most of the scrums.
Morrison. And I think, John, perhaps a little more pace injected in this Castleford side, with Fisher in the second row, and a second row like Kettridge moving up to prop forward.
Yeah, well, I think all the teams now, Ray, are looking for more pace, and the game has been speeded up by the bigger gap between the defensive lines. Here's Lee Crooks bringing the ball up, and as you can see, there's a swinging arm over the top. Harmon with a swinging arm over the top.
And Mr. Connolly warning him. Steadman. Castleford, at the time of the draw, quoted at odds of 8-1 to lift the Challenge Cup. Possibly those odds gone out a little longer in the last few weeks with the shaky championship form. But it's Castleford in the lead, 6 points to nil, and interference at the play of the ball, penalty. Well, I must confess, Mr. Connolly has been warning the players about leaning on at the play of the ball.
I think we can see on the replay here that Nick Howe doesn't touch the ball with his foot, but Paul Cullen, it is, grabs hold of the foot when he lifts him up, and he's interfered with him from behind the play of the ball.
Second attempt from Lee Crooks. £150,000 buy from Leeds. And one of the most experienced prop forwards in world rugby. 17 caps for Great Britain. Played all over the world. And kicked goals on virtually every ground in the world. Lee Crooks. 33 metres in front of the posts. No problem, 2 points for Crooks, 2 points for Castleford, 8 points to nil for Castleford. Much to the delight of those Cass fans, and just 17 minutes gone. So, very, very bad start for the home side. And Richard down there on the bench.
Yes, Ray, a very handy start for Castleford, but we've heard that Darrell van der Velde, who's sitting in the stand watching this, has been in radio communication with the bench and has said that he really wants the Castleford centres to stop drifting inside so much. He wants them to spread out more and give them a bit more width on the pitch. So that's the tactical information that's been going on to the field, Ray.
I think, John, that point there about the centres drifting in, most Australian coaches, you do tend to sit in the grandstand. You get a better view there, don't you?
Well, we can, you know, if you're on the bench, you can only see what the players see, and it's definitely an advantage to the players that they get another opinion and somebody that can see the whole situation rather than just what's in front of them. And you know, I think it's very beneficial to be up in the stand.
So Lee Crooks causing plenty of problems up there. Is this big number 8 for Castleford? Can slip the ball with the best of them. Forward. Looks for Nick Howe. Can't find him. Good tackle by Kelly Shelford, number 13 there for New Zealand in Warrington. Steadman. Good high kick, but not the most accurate of kicks. It was a kick under pressure. He's annoyed with himself, and I think he's annoyed with the gentleman who passed him that ball.
Yeah, well, Peter Coyne on the other side didn't have a lot of pressure on him, and he is usually their #1 kicker. So, you know, the fact that he passed it back across and you know, and they got a little bit of heat on Steadman, and he's kicked it out of the park.
And when the ball goes direct into touch on the fifth tackle, then it's a handover from the position it was kicked. Cullen, good run. Looks for support, he finds it with Jackson. Now to Bateman. Oh, that was a high tackle by Graham Steadman. Bateman cutting inside. Instinctive reaction, I think.
Yeah, Jackson, a little ball over the top here. You see the player comes well inside, and Steadman goes high with the right arm. He's hit him right across the side of the jaw. So
there we see it.
Head high tackle, Ray.
Yep. Mr. Connolly saying, look, keep the tackles down, keep them high, let's have a good fair game. So Warrington's first chance to put points on the board. There's some controversy as to whether Tony Thornley has a crack at goal or whether he puts it in the corner and keep the pressure on. Graham Steadman, the man who incurred the wrath of Mr. Connolly. So Tony Thornley, 6 seasons here at Wilderspool, really broke into the first team this year. Just 24 goals on the 20-metre line. Oh, it's tight, but it's there, just inside that. Right up right there. A little grin on Tony Thornley's face tells you 2 points for Warrington and perhaps a little more confidence. 21 minutes gone.
Very important for them to get back on the scoreboard, and you know, it's great to have a consistent goal kicker in your side. Very important in these cup competitions where it's one slip up and you're out.
And there we see that broken nose there of Gary Chambers, of Gary Sanderson, and the physiotherapist there at the side. So Lee Penny.
Those 2 points, Ray, came after the error from Steadman where he kicked the ball out on the full, and then he was penalised for a high tackle. So, you know, he just doubled up his errors in his own half and let Warrington get down there where they could come up with some points.
Well, that was a pass that Dwayne Mann wasn't expecting. And there we see the pass, don't we, John? Not in the position.
Yeah, Alan Bateman just, you know, he would have been better off running with the ball himself.
Peter Coyne thought about giving the ball to Nelson, but Ellis puts him down. Steadman trying to get away. Mr. Connolly screaming at Warrington to get back the 10 metres. Crooks. Good long pass to Nick Howe. Tony Morrison. Good switch. Good pass. Peter Coyne. The 5th tackle to Mike Ford on the blind. Tries the chip, it's always a difficult ball. Oh, Ellis just timed it perfectly. Simon Middleton couldn't quite get there. But a good kick from Mick Ford. Well, luck or perfect timing there for Kevin Ellis.
Yeah, it's good play from Kevin Ellis. He's, he's had a look at the situation and said, yeah, this ball will roll dead. He was aware of the opposition coming down too. Good play.
Offside. Number 10, Martin Ketteridge, offside, not square, not making any attempt to get back 10 metres. And I think with two sides like Warrington and Castleford, both of whom like to play rugby, we need a good space. So, Warrington just 31% possession. They really need more, but just look at that territory there. They've been in that half, but they've not used it.
Yeah, they started off with they played the game very early at great speed, didn't they? And I think they've hit a flat spot now, and they're down there now, and they need to get some points on the board.
Shelford. Good run by Kelly Shelford. Still, Warrington driving in. Dwayne Mann. Oh, he's held up there. Took 4 tacklers there, but it's Warrington now. Best attacking position. They've had the territory, they've not used it. Can this man be there? Oh, he's inches short. Good tackle there by Andy Fisher. Still Warrington. Mackey. The drive. It looks like Tony Thornley is in. Yes, Warrington's Tony Thornley is in. He had the power, he had the strength, but it was quick movement of that ball from the ruck. And Warrington's first try. Good effort, consistent movement of that ball. And Warrington very much now back in this first round.
Yeah, we see the ball go to Mackey here. Kelly Shelford's out a little bit wide too and just drifts across. Great straight running from the centre. Came onto the ball short and very straight, and that's the way you like to see the centres run. Ball to Mackey here. Another long ball to Kelly Shelford. Now the centre comes in very straight and hard, straight between the two defensive players, and be very hard to hold out from there, eh?
Especially a lad of Thornley's size and weight, John. So Tony Thornley looking to equalise. Oh, it's a bad miss. It's a bad miss. I know a lot of coaching has been going on at Warrington in recent weeks with the goal kickers. You just kick them like that. Still 8-6 to Castleford. Brian Johnson doing his statistics or filling his football pools in, one of the two.
I think he's probably thinking about a consistent goal kicker, Ray. That's, like I say, that's what you need in these cup games. You need somebody that can stick the ball over 9 times out of 10.
Says one coach who has Frano Botica.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he?
Dwayne Mann to Cullen. Another long-serving player, Cullen. 233 appearances here at Warrington. Harmon finds support in Dwayne Mann to Ellis. This is good passing now. Kelly Shelford cutting away. Good ball to Alan Bateman. Bateman, will he go for the gap? No, to Kenyon. But this is good rugby now from Warrington. And this is the man setting the example. Skipper, Dwayne Mann. Ellis. Look for the switch. Kenyon, the kick, the chase. No, I don't think he was obstructed. No player has to move out of the kicker's path. And Mr. Connolly saying to him, no penalty, run through the gaps. Ketteridge. Oh, just getting through. Richard down there on the bench.
With Chris Middlehurst in charge on the Warrington bench. Good comeback, Chris, but Castleford still sharing possession, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they've had a little bit more of the ball than us. We've just got to keep control of it and control our play. I mean, we had a bad start through a couple of missed tackles and they scored early on. But we've come back well, we're back in the game now. Hopefully we can pick it up again now and carry on.
Thanks, Chris, they are right.
Again, Mick Ford playing down that right-hand short side. Penny trying to leave it. Leaves it a little too long. He's tackled in that in-goal area. Drop out beneath the post. That's the second kick like that, John, we've seen from Mick Ford.
Yeah, the first one went a little bit too far, but that one was perfectly timed, perfectly placed, and put a lot of pressure on Warrington. They had to wait to see if it was going to run dead. It wasn't. So they had to play at the ball in their own in goal, which means Castleford get the ball back in a good attacking position.
There's the man causing the problems. Mick Ford and Shelford to kick. It's a good one. Reaches the halfway. Nickow, one of his Kiwi colleagues into Castleford ranks, to Werder Nickow from Huntly. Ketteridge, good break. Andy Fisher, speed, pace, this ex-Featherstone Rovers lad. Castleford, oh, he's lost the ball. Knock on, one or two of the Castleford fans, I think, looking for ball stealing and a penalty, but I don't think it was, John.
No, if we watch the replay here, we can see the tackle, and he's got the ball very, carrying the ball very loosely in one arm, and whenever there's a bit of contact there, the ball there's always a chance to come out.
So, Kevin Ellis coming away with the ball. Bateman, sudden injection of pace from this lad. He's a tricky centre, this Alan Bateman, John, isn't he?
He's very deceptive, got very good speed, and he's a deceptive runner.
And Warrington, John, looking to make gaps out wide against Castleford.
Yeah, they're prepared to move the ball around, Ray, and like you said, they're throwing a little bit of caution to the wind, as we could see there with the sloppy pass.
Yeah, bad pass there from Bob Jackson. Castleford, real championship contenders earlier in the season, but had a hiccup of late. Just one win out of their last 5 matches. Nickow and Ford like to be with each other, but he's lost it. Got the first knock on. So that'll be a head and ball to Warrington.
Yeah, we see Ford here loses the ball. He's thinking about offloading it on the outside. Warrington couldn't take the advantage and pick it up, so it's we've got a scrum, but it's a Warrington feed.
Greg Mackey to feed to Mark Foster. Quite a few sides now using this tactic of bringing the blindside wing in. Remember, of course, that the defence have to be 10 metres back, and a penalty again, lying on at the play of the ball. St. John Ellis. He's very firm about this, is this referee, John, isn't he?
Yeah, if you watch St. John Ellis here in the tackle, he's he's pulling him around, he's mauling him, he's laying there, he's hanging on, just too long.
Penalties about even, and 3 or 4 of those, all for lying on at the play of the ball. Ellis, ooh, I thought the gap was there to Thornley. Lee Penny. This youngster at full back likes to come up in the ranks. Number 8, Gary Chambers. Good Cumbrian stock from Kells Amateur Club. Mackey. On almost got himself tied up there in midfield, but still Warrington, the pressure on the Castleford line. Trailing 8 points to 6. Oh, went behind him, and Dwayne Mann once again the victim of an unexpected pass. Mackie, the kick. It's a good one. Was Mackie hit after the ball? It's anybody's, but knock on. Well, Kevin Ellis trying to signal to the referee that he felt that Greg Mackie was hit after the ball, but let's have a look, John.
Yeah, I thought the tackle from Nick Howe was a little bit late, Ray, and you know, they're probably a little unlucky there, Warrington.
Just 5 minutes left in this first half. Castleford leading 8 points to 6. The Mick Ford try, the 2 Crooks goals, to the Thornley goal and the Thornley try.
Yeah, another penalty there for holding down in the play the ball, and you know, the referee's very consistent in his decision there. It's you know, release the player and get on with the job.
And that's a bad kick, John. It never went into touch, just handed the possession to Warrington.
Yeah, it might be a very critical critical error at this stage of the game with 5 minutes to go.
Chambers to Mann, to Bob Jackson. He's going for that gap. The powerful Aussie prop. Back again to Harmon. Oh, good sidestep from that prop forward. Substitute there, number 15, Neil Harmon. Warrington looking for a half-time lead. Mackie, Ellis can't get the ball away. Good cover there by Nick Howe and Tony Morrison for Castleford. 8 metres from this Castleford line. Mackie. One remaining tackle. Is it worth the drop? It is. Ellis, no. Good pressure there by Mick Ford. Ellis perfectly placed for the drop goal, but the pressure on him by Mick Ford, the Castleford halfback, that was what did the damage.
Yeah, nice long pass back here to Ellis, and you know, if you're coaching, you need somebody to get up there like that and put pressure on like Mick Ford did.
Crooks. Still 2 points difference between the sides. Kettridge. Big lad to put down, 29 years old, Martin Kettridge, one of the few Scotsmen in the game, born in Dundee. Oh, good ball from Mick Ford to St. John Ellis. Not seen a lot of number 3 there, St. John Ellis so far, normally on the wing. Steadman, the kick and the chase. Oh, but well read by Kenyon. Good play by this Warrington youngster. He asked for a transfer last week, did Kenyon. He wasn't getting in the side. Well, he's in today. Chambers. Shelford. Adds a little more pace at loose forward. Normally a standoff. Foster. One man with real pace. Mark Foster. Mackie. Ellis. Bateman. Good tackle by Ford. Followed him all the way. 5th tackle, Warrington desperate to get this ball out. Kenyon puts the chip. Castleford just steadying play down, using the forwards. Lee Crooks playing to that half-time hooter, I think. Castleford leading, don't want to make any slips. Southernwood. To Ellis. Number 3 here, a £30,000 buy from York a couple of seasons ago. Nick Howe. Oh, that's a good ball to Nelson. No way through. Coyne. Picked up by Bateman. The Castleford players having to stay off the statutory 10 metres. Kenyon. The crowd roaring for a high tackle, but Mr. Connolly says no. Foster. Warrington using their wings a lot in midfield, John.
Yeah, well, they're making them work hard, and that's the way they should, that's the way they should use them. But they're also going down the middle a lot, and I notice a lot of times they're prepared to turn the ball back in and try and catch Castleford out in the middle of the ruck.
Well,
they probably had a look at the game that we did against Bradford a few weeks ago and saw that Bradford were able to get down the middle of the ruck and score a couple of tries against Castleford. So, most coaches watch those tapes and, they said, well, if Castleford are a little vulnerable in the middle, we'll probe and try and get, send our attack that way.
And Mr. Connolly warning Andy Fisher there about high tackles. So, inside the last minute in this first half, can Warrington snatch the half-time lead? 6 tackles. Harmon, edging near to the line. Always a good psychological blow here, a try on the half-time. Bateman. But this Castleford defence has been sure, it's been solid in the middle. And a knock-on. Mr. Connolly looking for direction from his touch judge. Mr. Blood. And no grumbles from the Warrington side. All scrums gone according to the head so far. Into stoppage time. Good ball to Nicow. That's a better ball to Morrison. Oh, he's lost it. No advantage. The knock on.
Yeah, here we see Nicow turn the ball back inside. He hits the ball at speed there, but it's a good tackle from Mackey. Gets across in cover and snuffs that out. I think it's the last chance now for Warrington to get him before the interval. They'll be looking for a good play from this scrum.
Well, that's if we get the player from the scrum, having a few problems there.
They usually bring the full-back in, second man out here very wide.
Well, they do, but Ellis just couldn't get away, and neither could Penny. Lee Penny just made 12 appearances in his career for Warrington, just broken into the side. Kenyon. Paul Cullen just going down the tunnel there, and Paul Derbyshire coming on. There is Paul Derbyshire, a back. Steadman up to the task. There is the hooter. Castleford just perhaps deserving of that lead. They came out, everything flying in the opening 10-15 minutes, but at 8 points to 6 there's still plenty to play for here in that final 40 minutes. And there we can see even territorial advantage, even handling errors, even scrums, almost even possession. This is going to be some second half. 8 points to 6 for Castleford.
And we'll be back because we're poised for second half action there. Second half of the Silk Cut Challenge Cup first round match, Warrington and Castleford. Castleford ahead, 8 points to 6, as we rejoin John Mooney and Ray French.
Yes, Steve, Castleford ahead 8 points to 6, but I think everything to play for here, and it will be very interesting as we see this Warrington side come out. Of course, in that first half they lost their 2 second rows, Cullen and Sanderson, and it was going to be very, very interesting to see what lineup they have in their pack. They've already got a half back operating at loose forward in Kelly Shelford. They brought Paul Derbyshire on just before half time, and we'll be interested to see how they go.
There's nothing in those stats, Ray. Everything points towards that 6-8 scoreline, and should be a great second half.
just that Tony Thornley miss under the post, the difference between the two sides just underlies the value of a goal kicker, John.
Yeah, you've got to kick your goals and you've got to have a consistent goal kicker, and these cup competitions, it's cutthroat. If you lose, you're out, so you know, it's not the day that you want to have an inconsistent goal kicker.
So Warrington to restart. Pitch playing in good condition. Even the tackles, very little difference. Finely balanced then. 8 points to 6 for Castleford. Steadman. Castleford wing there, Simon Middleton coming into the acting half-back position, trying to make space, but doesn't make as much as this man here, Martin Ketteridge. Southernwood, lost for support there to Nelson. Both sides' defences very tight in midfield. If there are any gaps, this is where they are, I think, out wide. Fisher, the man who did the damage for the opening try for Castleford, and another Warrington player in the wars, Gary Chambers. Oh, not the easiest of kicks there for Kenyon. And Richard on the bench.
Yes, we're very much make and mend on the Warrington bench. They've no fit substitutes to send onto the field, and we understand that Gary Sanderson in emergency would go back, but of course Gary Sanderson had a very nasty head injury in the first half. Paul Cullen, his shoulder is sprung, he's trapped a nerve, and his left arm is virtually useless, so it's a bit problematic on the Warrington bench, right?
Well, and that nose of Gary Sanderson's does look rather painful. Reminds me when I did mine a few times. Kevin Ellis, Lee Penny. So let's hope no more Warrington players get injured.
Well, I think it's just a problem with the English game, Ray. It's one of the areas that needs cleaning up, and you know, it's just not enough substitutions, 2 substitutions. I've been saying that for a couple of seasons now, and you know, when you're going against the doctor's orders to send players back on that are already injured, I mean, we're flirting with danger there with our game, and you know, the way the game's played now, we need more than 2 substitutes on the bench.
You've been an advocate for 4, John, in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, 4 might be too much for the league over here to handle. You know, everybody was up in arms about it, but you know, I'd be happy with 3. Anything's better than you know, having to send injured players back on. There we can see Phil Ford knock the ball on at the back of the scrum.
So puts Warrington on the attack. Oh, good half break there, and there we see Kelly Shelford. Warrington now driving into the crunching tackle there by Nelson. Really puts that Warrington man there, Neil Kenyon, into touch.
Yeah, they're just fancying their chances on the short side here, and when you do that, you flirt with that sideline, and you just can't, you know, you can't go over the sideline like that on the second tackle. It's very bad play.
Nelson. So fireworks in the early stages for Warrington. David Nelson just won't go down. Ketteridge having a good game in the front row, this lad. Normally second row, John.
Yeah, well, it's a position that, you know, you should be able to move your bigger, stronger back rowers up into, and you get the added mobility and the added speed.
Nicow, the man with the added speed, the Kiwi loose forward. Crooks, and good play there by the Castleford forwards. They've come 30 yards there in 3 probes. Now the kick forward, well taken by Lee Penny. Just in the right position, this Warrington youngster, number 1. Mark Forster.
He's not real healthy, the number 8 from Warrington, Gary Chambers. He's been struggling for a little while now, and as we know, they haven't got any fresh subs on the bench, and you know, that could be a major factor in this game.
Shelford, oh, that's a good pass to Bateman. Oh, Bateman there, blistering pace. Oh, a bad pass.
Worse than a bad pass, Ray. It was a disgraceful pass. I mean, it's a try under the post if he throws a decent ball.
Yes, and a forward pass as well. There we see Bateman, sudden injection of pace. And a forward pass, as you say, John. And the referee waiting for a little for Gary Chambers, moved into the second row, really struggling, took a knock to the head, but of course Warrington, no real substitutes to bring on. Nick out. And it's chances like that, John, that take you into the second round or not, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a big time competition, the Challenge Cup. It's you know, and the reward is a game at Wembley at the end of the year, and you know, to miss chances like that, you wouldn't want to lose a game like that.
Fisher, and the rewards of £36,000 cheque to the eventual winners on May the 1st. Coyne. Good pass to Tony Smith. Nelson, I think he forgot that it was the 5th tackle. Well picked up by Coyne, not a good kick though. Oh, Thornley allowed it to bounce. The knock on, surely. The last tackle, the knock on, so the handover to Warrington. But number 10 again there, Martin Kettridge, made good play.
It's always dangerous when you let a kick bounce, and you know, once we saw the Warrington player with his back to the kick, you knew it was going to bounce, and it's a dangerous situation. Luckily they've got out of it. It's a 6th tackle and a handover. Warrington's ball.
Neil Harmon. There we see Gary Chambers coming back into the action after a couple of bad knocks. Jackson. Both sides finding it really difficult to pierce the cover down the middle. Mackey, oh, there's a good... Just a half break. Needed a second row forward to be coming. Bateman. He's still got that ball. Good play by Bateman. He's very dangerous, this ex-Neath lad. Still Warrington on the attack to Ellis. Ellis. Mackey. Penny. Shelford. Warrington fans getting behind their side now. Kevin Ellis. A metre from the line. 2 more tackles in this sequence. Mackey looking for the short ball to Donnelly. Oh, tremendous tackle there by Peter Coyne. But that's a penalty. A penalty, offside, neither player at the mark, behind each other. Very forthright there from Mr. Connolly. Not square, he says to Castleford. Now, what do we do?
Nice little short ball here, Ray. And the markers must line up directly in front of the player, immediately and directly. As we can see, Nick out there, he's around one side and Coyne's around the other. Actually, the number 9's in there as well, Southernwood. So, you know, they had 3 markers there, and I don't think anybody was in front.
Another chance for Tony Thornley. Castleford in chaos there around the play of the ball. I think it was more panic set in there immediately. They were desperate to stop the acting half-back, I think, from scoring, from going himself. But incurred the penalty. Very similar position to the one that Tony Thornley missed in the first half. Looking for the equaliser. Oh, and he misses it again. It goes across the face of those posts. Agony for this ex-Woolston amateur. And really, John, this is a desperate problem for Warrington in this area, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. I suppose the captain, you'd be looking at the captain next time they get down there and say, you know, what are we going to do if we get a penalty down here? Where, you know, they're probably better off now taking the tap and going for a try.
Well, I think I've seen Kelly Shelford take a few kicks in the past, but I don't think Warrington have any other regular kicker. Still 8 points to 6 in Castleford's favour. Good ball from Mike Ford. Steadman trying to keep Warrington penned down in that corner, and it's a good kick. Nicely judged by Graham Steadman. Cost £170,000 from Featherstone Rovers a couple of seasons ago. Richard?
With Chris Middlehurst on the Warrington bench, you stand a chance of being short of players, don't you, Chris? That's a problem.
Yeah, well, the two lads that's come off injured are struggling at the moment. We'll see if we can go back on later on, Gary Sanderson, but there's not much chance of him going, so we're just going to have to manage with the 13 that we've got on the field at the moment. They was told at half-time that we'd have to stick it out, and they're doing quite well up to now.
The goal kicking letting you down, though?
At the moment, we've missed a couple, but who knows, the winner could go over any time.
There you are, Ray. So Warrington still hoping that they can keep the 13 players on the pitch that they've got there now.
Well, and the equaliser would have to go over first, but it's Warrington now on the attack. Greg Mackey, this little half-back from South Sydney, 31 years old, trying to get the Warrington attacking machine moving. Good ball from Shelford. Ooh, it's just stopped dead in the mud there. It was very unfortunate for Graham Steadman. He was there to the ball. He expected the bounce.
Yeah, Kelly Shelford's always a chance to put a chip over the top. Steadman attacks it there, but it's, the ball does come out and go forward. No good complaining, he's knocked it on.
It just hit that mud patch there, but it's Warrington now on the attack. Ellis, ooh, good tackle. Good tackle by Tony Smith. Followed Ellis, didn't take the dummy. Knock on. Little bit of nervousness, I think, beginning to creep in now, John, with the score so tight.
Yeah, and I think they're getting tired, Warrington, and they've had some opportunities and done nothing with them, and you've just got to take your chances in these games.
Forward. Smith. Good battle there between Smith and Alan Bateman. Steadman again. Good sidestep off that left foot. Manages to get the ball out, but not so much advantage. Coyne. St. John Ellis. Well, we've seen grubber kicks from Ford, but that's a good high one. Penny's underneath it. Oh, he's missed it. Castleford have picked it up. Well, a stroke of luck there, surely for Warrington. Two knock-ons. The first knock-on after Lee Penny. That was it. So the first knock-on being taken. Castleford's head and ball. So, opportunity now. Nick Howe. Not the best of passes. Well, as I said, John, some frantic play at the moment.
Yeah, both sides are, they've got the fumbles there. The ball's being knocked on. They're dropping catches, and like I said, in these big games, you just got to take your chances, and it'll be the side that settles down and takes its chance first, I think, that'll win this game.
We've certainly had plenty of scrums in this match, a little more than the normal average because of these knock-ons and forward passes. Oh, good tackle. Good tackle by Andy Fisher. Harmon had a good driving game since he came on, the substitutes. And Chambers there discarded his headgear. Mackey, the kick, under pressure. Not a good one. Nelson, good run by Nelson. Oh, good ankle tap by Mackey. Did well to come back there. The gap had been made. Southernwood looking for his centre. St John Ellis was too far away. Crooks. Southernwood again. Coyne. Stedman. Oh, superb step by Stedman. He's got Tony Smith with him. Now then for Castleford. Ketteridge to Nelson. Can he keep in? No, it's a forward pass. Sudden burst of speed by Graham Stedman there, but that last pass was the crucial one. Nelson, I think, a little aggrieved at that. Moaning about the forward pass, but Mr. Connolly was level with it.
Yeah, if we see the pass here, it's thrown. It's very poorly executed, and you know, on that passage of play, I thought there's a little bit of obstruction with Stedman getting in behind one of his own players.
Chambers discarded the headgear. Ellis. Warrington having the better of the possession, but still trailing, not really taking advantage of it. Mackey. Good ball to Shelford. Ellis, this is good rugby now to Thornley. Good cover. Certainly this Castleford cover is getting across very, very quickly, John.
Yeah, it is. They push across from the inside, but both sides are making breaks at the moment, and like I say, a little bit of finish here, and you know, somebody's going to score some points. Execution has been letting both sides down, though, when it comes to the critical stage, the last pass under a pressure or whatever the situation is, and you know, like I say, a little bit of good execution once one of these sides make a break, and we'll have some points.
Warrington, both second rows on the substitutes bench at the moment, John, in Gary Sanderson and Cullen. You think that could have a problem late on?
Yeah, I think both sides are, you know, things are fairly even in that stakes, though, and you know, the fact that they've been able to bring on a couple of players with pace, you know, they're not suffering too much at the moment.
Tony Smith, not got the pace to go round him, but another knock on. Bateman, a man with real pace. Good sidestepping movement there now to Neil Kenyon. Kenyon trying to get away on the outside, can't get there. The gaps are coming, the ball's moving. It's anybody's cup tie, is this? Mackey again. Ellis. Can't get the ball away. But it's Warrington now on the attack. Jackson. Referee Mr. Connolly screaming at the players to get off. Castleford's turn to defend. Castleford's turn to put the tackles in now. Mackey. Chambers. That's a good ball to Harmon. He's got Tony Thornley. They've got an overlap here. Thornley to Kenyon. Oh, why did Bob Jackson come inside? The fifth tackle. Mackey. The pass, it's still on. Dwayne Mann. The kick. No. Sensible kick by Dwayne Mann. It was the fifth tackle. Thinking there by the Warrington skipper and hooker.
Again, poor execution on the kick, though, Ray. You know, he's kicked the ball dead, which means that, you know, Castleford can bring it out to their 20-metre line and they get a tap restart, and they've got the ball again. And the way the game's going, like I said, plenty of breaks being made, and one team's got to come up with some good execution after a break.
Could one try settle this match, John?
Well, it's looking that way at the moment, but, you know, once one side scores a try, you know, there might be a few tries in the bag.
So, Richard?
Yes, and John Joyner, Castleford assistant coach on the bench. John, there are times when Warrington look there for the taking, but you've squandered some chances, haven't you?
We have squandered some chances. It's worrying time of the game for us. In a game as tight as this, you've got to take every chance that comes along.
There it is, Ray. Yes, John Joyner admitting that Castleford certainly have had the chances to tie this game up.
Just over 20 minutes remaining then. 2 points separating these two sides. Ellis. Both sides giving the ball, plenty of movement, moving it out to the centres, moving it to the wings, but the final pass costing the points. Mackey. Good run there by number 15, Neil Harmon. Mackey. That's a very, very high kick, but Steadman's underneath it, takes it well. Good tackle by Tony Thornley, and Greg Mackey there in the middle, urging them on. Middleton. Both sides with a sense now that possibly the next score could determine the winner. Nelson coming in to help his forwards. One or two forwards beginning to walk now, stood in the middle, John.
Yeah, they haven't got a lot of good formation at the moment, Castleford, but like I said, a little bit of execution on a break and we could see a try.
Good ball there to Tony Smith. Oh, he's passed it to the wrong man. I wonder did Mark Forster, number 5 for Warrington, do the old professional dodge there and call for the ball. But whatever, it's a let-off for the wire. Bateman.
Yeah, I think the winger out here is calling for the ball, and you know, the reaction throws the ball in that area, and the recipient's got the wrong colour jumper on.
Good tackle by Nick Howe. Prizes that ball out of Kelly Shelford's grasp. A sequence of 6 tackles for Castleford now. Forward to Steadman. Beginning to play a more prominent part there now, number 1. Graham Steadman. Forward again. St John Ellis. Nick Howe. Coyne. Oh, this could be something on here. The good burst by Middleton. Oh yes, he's in. Simon Middleton. It came out of nothing. The pass from Andy Fisher sends those Castleford fans into delight. The former Nottingley lad, his 15th try of the season, moved onto the wing after 10 weeks at full-back. Has he bagged the vital try? Those Castleford fans certainly seem to think so. 12 points to 6. 18 minutes remaining.
Yeah, the defence is in. Again, we see that inside run, the nice straight hard run, and he puts himself in a hole. Good long ball here. He's waiting for the receiver, and the receiver comes back to the ball. Good try.
And it was that man Andy Fisher again, John, wasn't it? The man who made the run down the right-hand side for the first try.
Yeah, well, like we said, Ray, we needed some execution on, you know, and that Castleford got down inside the 22, and they were able to, you know, to make the break, let the ball do the work, and then a player came into a gap and actually held the ball. We haven't seen that for a while.
Lee Crooks. A very important kick, this one, because of course if this one went over, then Warrington would have to score twice to win the match and to gain the draw. Not an easy one. Oh, but it is to Lee Crooks. It's smack between the posts. That's the value of a goal kicker. That's what goal kicking's all about. 14 points to 6 now for Castleford. 63 minutes gone. And Warrington in trouble.
They are in trouble, Ray, but here's the pass. The player comes into the space and, you know, gets between the defence.
Warrington then to restart, and there we see Tony Smith substituted. Grant Anderson coming on. St John-Ellis. Plenty of determination in this former York lad, and there is Grant Anderson looking in his nice and clean.
It's a good time of the game to be able to bring a fresh player on, Ray, and you know he's a player that's got a little bit of speed and he could do some damage in a game like this where the players are starting to get tired.
And of course that's one of the problems for Warrington, John. 2 players already off, unable to come back on, and players like Gary Chambers struggling.
Yeah, well, they haven't got any fresh legs on the bench, and you know the advantage has definitely swung to Castleford.
Ketteridge. Good pass to Crooks. Got through a lot of work of these 2 Castleford props. Lee Crooks, the captain, and Martin Ketteridge, the 29 years old number 10. Forward. And how many times have we seen this diminutive scrum half, Mick Ford, punishing Warrington, pushing that ball down the touchlines, making 20, 30 yards at a time.
Yeah, that's why we're seeing a lot more scrums. Both half-backs and the kickers in both sides are, you know, they're kicking the ball over the sideline, and the scrum's a result.
16 scrums already, an unusually high figure these days for modern rugby league. Good pass. And Richard down there on the bench.
Yes, Ray, the tactics now quite clear for Castleford. They've had the message from Darrell van der Velde in the stand, their coach, that if they get the opportunity, they should go for 1 point. John Joyner has communicated that to the players from the touchline, so Castleford will settle for the drop goal if the opportunity arrives. And it's possible, I imagine, that Dean Sampson, the Castleford substitute forward, might be joining in soon, so another fresh pair of legs for Castleford, Ray.
Yes, and no doubt about it, if you can bring a fresh forward on at this stage, then that really would be invaluable. 14 points to 6 then for Castleford. A drop goal or 2 would be disaster for Warrington. Tony Thornley. Warrington really must pierce this Castleford cover. Picked up well. Nelson. 30 years old, former Queen's Park amateur. And Simon Middleton, the other wing. Well, the ball knocked out of his hand. I think it was knocked out of his hand, but Bob Jackson shakes his head. Harsh decision, I think.
Yeah, he got them on a technicality.
Whatever, it puts Warrington back on defence, and this man Steadman putting Castleford back on the attack. Graham Southernwood, young Castleford hooker, to Ketteridge, relishing his moves to prop forward. Crooks. Good strong driving run by Crooks. He's taken some pulling down here this afternoon. Conditions have suited the former Great Britain prop. Forward to Nickow. Good ball distributor this toward a Nickow. Steadman.
Yeah, they've played both second rowers. They've played Fisher and Nickow out very wide in their attacking game, Castleford, and you know, they've been very effective and very dangerous.
Well, there was a huge gap there from Graham Southernwood, but the knock on, the touch judge, Mr. Hayes, signalling that it was a knock on. Again, good liaison between referee Mr. Connolly and his 2 touch judges.
Yeah, a lot of contact on the tackle there, and as you can see, Southernwood loses the ball. He's looking back for a receiver, but he loses it on the way down.
Good teamwork between the match officials. And offside, loose forward. Nickow breaking from the scrum whilst the ball was still in. Just 10 minutes to go then in this first round, the Silk Cup Challenge Cup. Castleford leading, and John, what would you think Warrington have got to do now? 10 minutes remaining.
Well, they've got to go for broke. I think they found a lot of space out wide when they tried to move the ball wide, and I think they've got to string their passes together and get the ball out a little bit wide, try and find that space on the edge.
They're overdoing it a little bit now at half-back, aren't they?
Well, the ball always goes to Mackie when you're playing against Warrington. Mackie's the first receiver, and he demands the ball all the time. So to play against them, if you follow Mackie around, you know where the ball's going.
Well, Brian Johnson just weighing up the situation. No doubt we'll be sending instructions down to the bench. But it's still Castleford. Pressure.
They might be they're looking to me like they're setting for this drop goal. They're going to just drive the ball towards the goal post and smack over the field goal at the end, Ray.
And they've got the forwards to do it. Big men. Forward. Fisher again, out wide. He's been very dangerous, this Andy Fisher. A couple of half breaks and good passes led to 2 tries. Ellis. And there is a chap. Southernwood took his opportunity direct from the acting half-back position. Graham Southernwood. Well taken drop goal. Only a youngster, but with an old head on those shoulders. The former Red Hill amateur, he's pleased with himself.
Yeah, they had Coyne nice and deep here, and not much reaction from the Warrington players. They gave Southernwood the opportunity without any pressure on him to kick the goal, so they didn't have to go back to their field goal kicker in Peter Coyne.
So that takes Castleford out to 15 points to 6, and just 9 minutes remaining for Warrington to haul themselves back into this match. A huge task. Darrell van der Velde complained in midweek about a lack of confidence in his Castleford outfit. Well, he can't have too many complaints at the moment. Crooks had a good game, John, Lee Crooks.
Yeah, he always plays well. He's very consistent, takes the ball forward. There's always a pass in him, and he does a good job for the side as the captain. They've also got the added incentive that they did play at Wembley last year, and I think it's fresh in their mind, the incentive to get to Wembley again, and it's something that the players all strive to do. That everybody wants to play at Wembley, and it's a great carrot at the end.
Well, on the offside decision there, Mr. Connolly was screaming all the time as we see this kick. Well, we can see Nelson there 2 or 3 yards in front. It looks a try, but it's not a try. And Warrington attempting to swing this ball out wide now. Shelford, 1 try would really open it up again, would put Warrington back in the match. Mackie. Ellis. Good ball to Jackson, but you don't really want a good long ball like that going to a prop forward out so wide. I don't think the prop forward wants it, John, does he?
No, I think he was caught out a little bit then, Ray. I think he was somewhere where he shouldn't have been, and the ball found him. I think Bob Jackson's days of skirting down the touchline are gone.
Well picked up by Paul Derbyshire. Bateman can't get the ball away. Good clamping there by Ketteridge. Ellis. That's a good kick. Good kick. Sends Simon Middleton scuttling back. And of course, Warrington. Kevin Ellis has got to tell his pack to keep them down here. And here is the problem for Warrington, John. A fresh man. A Great Britain tourist, Dean Sampson, able to come on with 7 or 8 minutes remaining.
Well, they've been able to introduce 2 fresh players in the last 10 minutes, Anderson and Sampson, and they certainly make a difference. And the Warrington players, they just take the side of that. They've just got to get over the line in the next couple of minutes, Warrington, to be a chance in this.
Forward. Good run by Middleton. He's made one or two nice timely incursions into midfield. And Sampson already into the fray. Called in as an emergency substitute on the tour last summer when in New Zealand, and acquitted himself well. Coyne, nick out. Southernwood, a player growing in confidence. Play on, yes. It's a chase between Lee Penny and Middleton, but Penny's there. But good cover again by Simon Middleton, number 2. Not only picked up a try, but done a good stint of tackling. And again, Castleford have been guilty of that this afternoon, not squared at the play of the ball. Both players must stand behind each other. And there we see the penalties conceded by Castleford, John, quite a lot.
Yeah, 9-5 the penalties, and you know, it's hard to play, and it's, you know, a lot of their penalties have been for, you know, areas of the, you know, play the ball, mark a defence, holding down the play the ball. So it's always an area that you're looking to, and you know you're going to concede a few penalties there.
4 minutes remaining. Castleford confident of moving into round 2. Warrington desperate for a try.
All right, now leave it.
Good tackle by Dean Sampson. Bateman. Mackie again. To Forster. But all the time, every time wanting to move this ball about, the Castleford covers there, the defence is there. That's a good kick by Shelford. Well taken. Superbly taken by Graham Steadman. Took a knock to the stomach. Crooks. Taking his time. And Sampson rightly coming in, the fresh man, taking the ball away at first receiver. Only met 5 times previously in the Challenge Cup history. Warrington winning 3, Castleford 2, so it looks as if we're going to be all level now. Here's a run to Steadman. Oh, nobody will catch Graham Steadman. He's under the post. A flourishing finale for Mr. Steadman. Wonderful try. And isn't he happy about that? That's the killer. That's the final punch. He's not played very much this season as Graham Steadman, but he's back to his best. 2 minutes remaining, 19-6 for Castleford, and a convincing victory here at Wilderspool on the card, surely. He told me on Friday that he wanted to get himself back into the Great Britain side, and this is the form to do it, John, isn't it?
Yeah, he's played very well. Good support play again by Ford. He's right up there and takes a short pass. Then Steadman's in the clear with a clear 20-metre run to the line, and from, you know, he's always going to get over the line from that distance. Just at the start of that play, Ray, I thought there's another problem there for the referees. How long to leave those players standing up in the tackles, and, you know, he left the players standing there for a long time, and, you know, it's just a judgment call from the referee.
Lee Crooks, 3 from 3. Surely to make it 4 from 4. He does. Casual, nonchalant, over the posts. And Castleford 21 points to 6. A tremendous performance here at Wilderspool by the Yorkshireman.
Yeah, it's a great... There's Ford coming straight down the camera. It's he's only got the fullback to draw. Good execution. And Steadman with a clear run to the line.
Good try. And well deserved. So, Castleford in possession, and Dean Sampson. Castleford failed at the final hurdle last season at Wembley to the holders Wigan. Over the first fence now, and they don't come any harder than a clash here at Wilderspool with Warrington. I think coach Darryl van der Velde will be hoping for an easier tie and possibly one back at Weldon Road when the draw for the second round is made on Monday evening. There is the man who's guided them to this victory. Touch.
Although Castleford kicked that ball, Ray, it came off a Warrington player, which gives Castleford the feed. So, accidental or on purpose, Castleford just get the feed. It's
Well, congratulations all round between Steadman and Ellis. It's been played in a very, very good spirit. But Castleford may have returned to form at just the right time. They're in the draw for the second round on Monday. And Warrington now have to concentrate on the league. Wonderful performance, John, from Castleford.
Yeah, they played very well. Very good defence, and like I said, their execution was a little bit sloppy in the middle of the second half, but they had the two fresh subs to bring on, and that helped them, and then they started to put some good rugby league together. Both second rowers, Nickow and Fisher, played particularly well today, and Southern was very handy in the middle of the park.
And those supporters travelled over the Pennines acknowledging the fine performance by the Yorkshiremen. None better there than fullback Graham Steadman, a little bit out of puff. And Lee Crooks, didn't he lead them from the front at the prop, and the skipper. Good performance in the second round draw, 21 points to 6. And this was a key try, John, wasn't it?
It was a great try, kept the ball available. Nice support play right on his shoulder from the half-back, Mike Ford. Then Steadman's in the right place, clear under the line. He's got too much pace. And he's had another good game, Steadman. You know, I bet they're very happy to have him back at the, in the fullback position at Castleford.
So, Warrington 6, Castleford 21, and looking for that draw on Monday evening.